Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Jump Seat. This will be episode 12 today. I'd like to take a minute just to welcome everybody. For those who've been here before, thanks for coming back. For those new to the show, the Jump Seat is a weekly spotlight bringing you key industry thought leaders, subject matter experts, and next-gen insights affecting both you and your fire department. Hosted by two Jump Seat firefighters, myself, John, and Dave Durstein.
Hey, welcome everybody. Glad to have you here today.
And we'll be taking a look here at a pretty interesting facility. So give us a few minutes, and just again, thanks for everybody joining in. So I will announce from last week. We did some giveaways. It was July 3rd last week. We were all getting into the 4th of July Independence Day weekend, and we decided to do some giveaways. So we wanted to quickly announce those winners and give a shout out to them for joining and sharing our live cast. So first winner we had was Doug Neisch from New York. The second winner, Ben Geary, looks like up in Idaho, as well as Ryan Spall.
And we apologize if we mispronounced your name. It wasn't intentional by any means,
right.
But
that's right.
Yes, didn't mean to interrupt you there with Ryan Spall, I believe.
Yep,
right?
Ryan Spall. Looks like Indiana. So we've hit several parts of the country, and then the last one was Logan Brennan out of Florida. So. Sorry, there was one more. Dan Baker, New Hampshire. So yeah, we did a pretty good hit on the map there, Dave. So
yeah, it's a great spread, you know.
That's right. We
didn't cheat at all. So
no IDEX employees won. No fire and safety employees won. We kept it fair and shared the love to the others. So
Dave, two of those winners. We appreciate you sharing. And John, what all were they getting in their prize pack?
Yeah, so they've got some. Well, first of all, part of our guest with Jason Patton was talking about fire department coffee. So first of all, coffee's in there, best coffee on the planet. Thanks, Jason and the team there, as well as some hats. We got some towels for the summer heat, right? And then some. Well, and this is actually more important than it's been before, but some hand sanitizer. So. We got some goods there, as well as some other things, some stickers. So thanks again, everybody, for joining in on that. So as far as giveaways, we'll probably do them again. It won't be every week, but when we get to it, right? For the special
Absolutely.
Fridays.
Absolutely. And so, I thank everybody for joining in last week. And I know they're going to be getting them in the mail here, so be looking for that package with all those goodies here in the next week, and I look forward to the chance to get more stuff away. It's obviously a fun thing. It was cool to try to watch to see who all was commenting and sharing, and I think it was a great piece. But I got one quick thing I just want to throw out. Kind of happenings of the fire service, and then we'll get right to our the main course of the jump seat for today, right? And it's an exciting one at that, but. I just want to say to all the emergency responders who watch us and follow us, just be careful out there. There was an incident that happened earlier this week. John and I kind of talked about it and debated a little bit, but outside of Columbus, Ohio, a fire department off-duty personnel was driving in their personal vehicle, but it did have some placards indicating they were a firefighter on their vehicle, and a car proceeded to pull up next to them and yelled some profanities and then opened fire on the vehicle. A horrible situation. The firefighter was shot in the arm. Luckily, it sounds like everything's going to be okay. But, one of our big things is just making sure everybody's safe out there. So just be, we appreciate everything that you do, whether you're police, fire, EMS, industrial response. Thank you for doing that. But on the flip side of things, just be careful. Watch out for some of the situations that could arise these days. Keep doing your due diligence in your job to be effective in your roles. But John, any comments you want to throw in on that as well? I know we discussed it quite a bit.
Yeah, no, you hit it. I think, we just got to be aware and be cognizant of our environment, just like always. Just like we are on duty, same off duty as well. So, yeah, Dave.
Be safe.
Be safe. Dave, go ahead and let's switch gears here. Who we got coming in today to the jump seat?
Yeah, so this is actually a cool trip. We're going in, we've kind of showcased a couple smaller fire apparatus facilities here. we're going to a really an awesome facility here where they take everything from frame rails to finished fire truck. And so I'm excited to actually bring on Mr. Bert McCutcheon. So Bert is been with Ferrara Fire Apparatus for 32 years. He's the general manager there now. Ferrara is part of the Rev Fire Group. And so we're glad to have Bert on the show here today. Some little more background about him, and I'll let him go into more on himself. But he's no new guy to the fire service. He's been actively involved as a firefighter for 35 years with the Central Fire Department there outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And he's currently a district chief on that department. So he's got firefighting background as well as apparatus manufacturing experience. And so, Bert, welcome to the Jump Seat. John and I are glad to have you here, and we're looking forward to getting our tour of Ferrara Fire Apparatus today and seeing how you guys build equipment and what you guys do special to make it effective for our friends in the fire service.
Thanks, Dave. We appreciate the opportunity to kind of showcase our facility, especially today when people can't really get out. Very limited on visitors right now, so we appreciate the opportunity to walk around and talk about our product.
Well, that is great. Why don't you give us a little background on Ferrara Fire Apparatus and then let's maybe even your background a little bit more, and then we'll jump into these trucks. You got me excited. I see a couple cabs lined up in the background. Looks there.
Yeah. So, you know, Chris Ferrara was a volunteer fireman in the Central Fire Department, and you know, there were a bunch of pipe fitter welders worked at Exxon and all the plants in the area. So they were just running off of donations, and they needed a tanker truck. So they got an old truck with a tanker chassis on it. They took that off and actually built a tanker. And so, you know, Chris was, as he does, leading the charge in that like he does everything. And noticed it was hard to get a lot of equipment. He was trying to find some pieces and parts. And so they actually built another tanker truck later on. But he kind of started dabbling in the equipment business, was really good with rescue tools and stuff like that. Back when Grumman was building trucks, sold Grumman's trucks for a while. And actually in 1982 had Ferrara firefighting equipment. And then in 1985, it moved to a building on Mammoth Drive in Baton Rouge, a small building. And he started building his own trucks as Grumman got out of the business. And so in 1988, you know, the business was just kind of cash strapped. You couldn't get a loan for an existing business. So Chris, in the old days when you got the application stamp, he and a banker went to New Orleans and he got a small business loan and actually started Ferrara Fire Apparatus in August of 1988. And of course, it's always been one company, just officially two, but we all merged into Ferrara Fire Apparatus at the Y2K thing, but moved out to this facility in 1994, originally just 110,000 square feet. We're about 260,000 square feet under roof now. So that'll be kind of the reason we zigzag through the plan as we go, is that we just added on over the years. So 2017 of April, I originally started in October of 1988. Really, I call it a floor sweep, right? I was an executive wrench hander and a gopher, ran a lot of errands. So from there, went into equipment sales and just did almost everything in the company, except the stuff that matters, welding and painting. I didn't have a lot of talent. So I moved on into business,
modest.
but well, you know, I'm not fooling anybody who knows me. So it's all recorded live, but I was the COO when Rev Group acquired us in April 2017. And of course, Mr. Chris took the opportunity to retire and enjoy his life a little, pursue some other endeavors. And I became the vice president, general manager, and run the business unit for Rev.
Well, that is great. We're glad to be with you today, and I know I'm looking forward to seeing all the good stuff you guys are doing down there. So
Bert, just in case anybody wonders, how hot is it today in Louisiana?
So it's in the low 90s, but the heat index is 105 today, 106 tomorrow, and 107 Sunday. So
all right,
it's pretty warm.
Well, and for anybody who's never been to Louisiana, it's humid too. It's not just a dry heat. That's a humid, hot heat.
Oh, yeah, it's very humid. So, and just a little about me, the way that I came to Ferrara is Chris had been a volunteer fireman there. Obviously, and he had gone when I became a junior fireman. He had just left because he had moved and the business was getting busy. But one of the only paid firemen on shift at that time, who retired as chief about a year ago, who had taken me under his wing at the fire department from the junior fireman on up, called Chris and got me the job. And so I guess, Chris just used me for all the gopher stuff, but really taught me about a lot of business. But I've, worked full time for the fire department and part time for Chris for about 6 years there, from really about 93 to most of the end of 98. And at that time came back full time. So luckily the fire department, still in my blood. I'm still a volunteer district chief, one of the few volunteers left. So those guys are grown into a nice paid professional organization now. So I have a little bit of part of that. So I still like to help out when I can.
That is great. That is great, Bert. Well, show us some of these trucks and how we build them.
All right. So, we build both cab chassis and the body and everything here at the factory. So just a quick look, kind of starting, where it all begins is we get this raw cab right here that you see, and we cab prep that up. Once that cab preps up, it'll get primed and painted and comes in. And that actually, one of the things, we'll paint the cab, and we come back, and one of our standard characteristics is that we F-shield the interior of this cab. So we get a lot of nice fit and finish. We get a lot of isolation, and just makes it a very solid, rugged look. As you know, heavy duty is our thing. So the entire interior of this cab, including the dash, is all 3/16 aluminum. So we don't skimp on any material. And so on this cab line, these cabs start moving up, and they'll start finishing them out, and they'll start putting the electrical and a lot of key components in. We'll walk this way and see that, and we'll come back around. So we have this on the cab line, and it's going to get a little loud right here. So we get this guy to stop grinding. I apologize.
No worries, man. You got to keep building trucks. That's important.
That's right.
Got to keep getting built. But anyway, on the opposite side of the chassis plant, we have what I call the running gear, basically the chassis side. And so we'll see the frame box area, which is a little different area. But once they come in, after the frames have been boxed and axle set, they'll come on this side and get the engines mounted. And then they start to run through the process before we see a cab getting set up there. But, one thing is, most every truck we do is double frame rail liners, triple liner on the bigger trucks and aerials. We have our own cross member we have made, which is all 1/4-inch steel. So it's not a thin, fat piece of material for a cross member. It's a solid piece of 1/4-inch. And if we have an aerial, we actually have a 3/16 piece of material we use for an H member back there.
Okay.
So you'll notice that we use a lot of bulkhead fittings, and then we also use a lot of stainless steel components that we attach. So where we have the battery box here is all stainless steel. Our def tank over there is stainless steel. So just a lot of heavy duty, solid material. A lot of times these battery boxes want to rust out because of the corrosion and everything that gets trapped in them. So we like to prevent a lot of that. So you'll see up here what they're doing, and we'll try not to interrupt them, but you see once that cab's complete on this other side, it's coming over and getting set on there. And then it'll actually go to a cab final and QC cell. And from there, Stevie's a little taller than me. He's having trouble getting through here. But from there, once this cab gets set, they'll take the truck, and once they final and QC and get all the programming done, from there, they'll come out and test drive the unit, and then they'll go around to the body side, go through the body side process. So unique about us is, all different cabs go through the same line. So, our main cab for what I call our everyday bread and butter stuff is a 3/16, marine grade aluminum and everything. And we'll do all kind of very customized options. So you see right here, we have a rescue chassis that actually has a 20-inch raised roof on it. And this is actually a 3-door cab that has a command center in the back. And again, when we build a command center, it's all 3/16 aluminum. We actually don't use any wood. We don't use any plastic. It's all heavy duty material. You got 3/16 wall. If you want to mount something on that wall, it's not going anywhere. So that's a lot of the unique stuff that we do is just heavy duty in everything we do. So
that's actually pretty cool, Bert. I mean, you mentioned the 20-inch raised roof there. Are all of your chassis pretty much custom? I think we kind of talked a little bit about that. How many configurations do you do in cabs, and how extensive do you go from the customization for your customers?
So, the thing about us is we do a ton of customization. I think if you actually combine them all between a short 4-door, a medium 4-door, an extended medium four-door, and an LFE long four-door. We'll have about 54 different cab configurations, and we will do a customized roof if someone has a very specific need. So a lot of special operations and hazmat units will do that stuff on. And then you get into our stainless steel cab, which this is the FDNY hazmat, but you see we have a stainless steel ultra, we call it, stainless steel cab, and this actually has a stainless steel body on it, our stainless steel all welded modular body.
Oh, wow.
And again, everything interior is aluminum. We try to put no plastic. We have our own upholstery team here. So they'll actually upholster the areas that need the softness. But we like the truck to be rugged, heavy duty, gives you opportunity to mount everything. Screws aren't going to pull out over time out of plastic or any kind of cheaper material or wood. So that's just one of the things to do.
Absolutely.
You get a little better idea here of how those cabs come up the line before they get set. You can see, today's world, everything's electrical, right? So ton of electrical in the system. So that's a lot of the labor that's in this or whatever. But we get that cab, and when that running gear comes up and this cab comes up, we set that together to complete the chassis.
Wow. So,
we have a,
Bert, real quick. So I know we haven't looked at all the pumpers yet, but tell us kind of just for those wondering, what's kind of the average build time for a middle of the road average pumper spec? What are we looking at with you guys there at Ferrara?
So for the chassis, it's about 6 weeks.
Okay.
So from the time, what we usually take it when we swipe the first labor hour to it, there may be some materials ordered, long lead time. Axles are about 12 weeks. Engines are sometimes 8 to 10 weeks. So you really, what we call the majors of the truck with the engines and the transmission is what you really have to order in advance. But we kind of take from the first labor hour, get charge of that truck. That's where we kind of say that's the start of the build process. So I would say about the average is about 6 weeks. If you take this FDNY stainless steel Ultra, you're probably more into about 10 or 12 weeks. And of course, you add a week or two with this command cab, compartmentation, EMS compartments. You get a lot of specialty stuff. But your regular truck's about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Perfect.
So you see the engine build area over here. So we actually do upfit our own engine. So we get the engine and the transmission in. We'll upfit that engine. It'll come together, and then we'll actually, get the radiator set on the truck after we mount the engine. And that's what you see what's going on back there on that running gear side. And we kind of get that stuff going. So prior to that, to those chassis coming in, this is what we call our frame box area. So what you see is where we drill our own frame rails here. We have a frame drill machine on the other side of the top. And we actually drill our own frame rails. And then these guys come in and set the axles, mount the pump, do any mods for any bumper extensions or anything like that. And then you'll see up there, they actually have one after it's done, it goes into paint and gets painted. And then they do some mods after, depending if the chassis gets F-shielded. Because we do offer an option to F-shield your frame rails, your cross members, and all your major structural components on your chassis.
Wow.
So,
Bert, this is the first time our guests have had a chance to look at a chassis side of the operation. Most other places have already had chassis done. There's a lot that goes into a chassis that probably people don't think about when they see them rolling down the street.
Yeah, a lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind, and there's a lot behind out of sight.
Yeah, the chassis business is something that still today is impressed with. I guess I've watched these talented people build bodies for so long. I kind of take that for granted, but some of the stuff we do with the chassis is really amazing. We have a lot of very talented people here. So we'll take a quick peek out the door right here. So we have 2 pump pit areas for third-party testing. So we actually have a 40,000-gallon in-ground pit where we can pump test smaller trucks. And then you see out there, they're pumping an industrial right now. So we have a pond out there, and we have it set up to where we can pump industrials and aerials. You talk about the heat. If we try to pump too much out of this actual in-ground pond, the water will get so hot that it'll start to affect the pump test. Or we have to pump it out every night and fill it back up. So we invested in cleaning the edge of the pond up so that we can use the pond because it doesn't get as bad. But it's in the heat of the summer, when that truck is there with these new engines running at the heat they run at coming off of the mufflers, that concrete absorbs absorbs and holds a lot of heat.
Those guys
can
out there
imagine.
have a good job today. Get a break from the heat out there flowing water. Probably feels all right.
So you come through, some of the sheet metal areas. So, all the sheet metal prints that come out of engineering come back here, and this is where the really craftsmen are. So this is one side of the sheet metal shop. So you see we have the extrusion saw there. It cuts automatically. So they put the measurements in, and the extrusion saw actually cuts a real nice clean cut off of the prints there. And so one of our main things, we talk about our extruded aluminum body and the 3/16 material. So just to show you, we basically have 2x2s and 2x3s and 2x4s. And a lot of them has these P channels, and that's where the material slips in. So modular body is kind of like building a house, and you'll see it where we build these walls. And when you put those walls together and bring them up, they start to form the body for you.
Okay.
And so you also can see too, and we'll see some more of it over there. But our main structure on our subframes are I-beams. So we have some heavy and light I-beam, and then we actually have some heavy tank material that we put some tank cover on so the tank to sit on. So, Chris Ferrara was a welder. And so one of the things he always did, you see this guy right here is actually putting a 45-degree bevel on all the material that gets cut. So by doing that, and we'll see in a minute, when you go to weld to this, instead of being two flat surfaces, we now.
So Bert, I think we lost a little of your audio there.
Did you get muted?
Bert, we lost a little of your audio there, Bert, if you can hear us.
We see you, but we can't hear you.
So I'll add a little lib there. Bert, we lost a little of your audio if you can hear us there. But
they're not muted. That's weird.
Okay, well, anyhow, what Bert was saying was there's a 45-degree they cut onto those, and when they made them up, it allows them to fill that that material there in the middle. So I know it looks like Bert realized that there's going to get audio hopefully back up and running here as we work that technical difficulty. But he kind of explained to us the other day that they put those 45 degrees on to create a kind of an angled pitch, and then they weld that together. That actually creates a tighter bond in there. And hopefully we get the audio back here really quick and we can help that that situation there.
Yep.
So in the meantime, while they're actually working on filling that, John, I last week we were talking a little bit about fireworks, right? So
right.
And I hope you had a good 4th of July and didn't have any issues with fireworks in your backyard.
No, we did not. Thankfully, we were all safe. No chaos emerged, at least in my area, thankfully. So.
Yeah, it was the same in our neighborhood here as well. But it was nice to be able to sit back and relax. There was no public fireworks displays around my my home here, but we were able to catch a number of them as things popped up in the area.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey Bert, we got you back. It sounds like. Oh, lost your video feed, but we'll get you here.
How about now?
You are good. We got you back. So,
sorry about that.
You guys are all right.
Dave, you were talking so much that it locked up the phone.
Oh, that's what it was.
You talking. Anyway, but you see this V-wedge extrusion form to hold it. And so you have that wedge in there so that when you come back and you actually weld the material together, you're getting great penetration in there. Now on this weld, we won't ground that down, but on some of the flat surfaces, they may ground that. So we end up getting that, still having a good solid going to that structure.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Dave, you did pretty good. You
I know,
filled in while Bert
was... I kind of covered it in. I kind of said the same thing. I'm glad we were on the same page there, Bert.
I'll give you a B.
Yeah.
A B grade
so,
on it.
So you see we have some of the body walls, but you see our extruded bodies being built right here. And so you can see this is a body gets being built with the subframe on it. So you see there's just a lot of welding. And, a fire truck has a lot of water on it, right? And there's a lot of twists and turns. So we do a lot of reinforcement to the body. So you'll see that even in some of these areas, we make sure we put plenty of weld. And we'll see in a minute actually where we do some of the plating in the back of it. So this, like in this pump house at the truck where the truck is twisting, we actually put some plating behind it to reinforce it. So instead of just welding this joint together, we're actually putting a plate in there to add extra stability because we don't want to have any body cracks on our truck.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So you see a more completed body. You know, this body still has to be ground down. So that's when we talk about those areas where we'll ground this down. But Steve will swing around over here. So one of the things, you know, again, with Chris is Mr. Heavy Duty, you see these gussets we put in. So we put all these gussets in. You'll see that in a lot of our stuff, all this gusseting for reinforcement. So we make sure that we're not going to have any cracks.
I was going to ask too, is that something that you guys have adopted in the last so many years, or has that been kind of from the get-go, that same mentality, that same focus on reinforcing and quality of those targeted areas that have more stress?
I won't say it came from the beginning. I'll say that probably for the last 18 to 20 years we've done it, you know, but we've added gussets. So one thing about it is anytime we have a problem, we try to go back and figure out what happened to that problem. And then we typically over reinforce that area. Dave knows Chris Ferrara, you know, if you need, you know, a 1/4 inch, we're going to put a 1/2 inch of thickness of material in there to hold it. So over the years, you know, we started out with just these simple gussets. Then we started adding gussets and a lot of this fish plating in these houses because, again, the center of that truck, you know, the cab's twisting, the water tank's twisting. So you're getting a lot of movement in that truck. So that's all happening right here. So to avoid body cracks, we just do a lot of rugged reinforcement.
That's one thing. I mean, you guys, anytime I've seen your trucks, you know, they've always been that rugged, heavy duty aspect. I know you've reinforced it, but I think that's kind of what's made Ferrara synonymous over the years as well.
Right. So we did just look at the extruded aluminum bodies, but, you know, one thing very unique about us is that we also build a modular body that, you know, even in the early days, we built a lot out of galvanneal. We'll build it out of aluminum or we'll build it out of stainless steel. So really the only builder who builds such a variety of bodies out of a variety of materials. So sometimes you need short lengths of trucks. Sometimes we're trying to overcome height restrictions. And sometimes the modular body will give us a little advantage to do that. So while the majority of things going through here extruded aluminum, we do a lot of these bodies like this. And of course, we do an all welded stainless steel body like we saw in that FDNY hazmat, you know, that we do a full stainless steel body. And then this is actually the subframe being built right here. So you get to see the I-beams and what goes into the subframe. And you see we wrap it with the tank rubber, but you can see the amount of weld that's all over this subframe. So this is where the tank will sit in here. And this is basically the tank cradle and the subframe is for the basis of the body. So that's the body set area. We'll slip through here and we're working through the plumbing area. Another thing, we do a lot of industrial trucks and we do a lot of plumbing, but you'll see we're building our own stainless steel manifold. So we do a lot of plumbing of our own, but a lot of this stuff we need specialty manifolds. And so we do all that in-house currently.
So, I mean, you guys really are truly vertically integrated from the chassis all the way through the whole entire process. Fabbing, welding, creating all those components to make sure that it's truly a Ferrara built truck.
Right. Well, you know, we always thought that if somebody could do it, we could probably do it better. So we like to do a lot of things ourselves. We control the quality of it. We control the timing of it. It makes us very flexible because we're not dependent on a lot of other people for a lot of these items.
Absolutely.
So just a quick look at the panel build area over here. This actually has a SAM system on it. If you notice the screens, and we'll see a few more of those in a minute, but just the plumbing and pump panel area being built over here. So the trucks are built, and we call them workstations. So we have, you know, 5 workstations plus paint. So we're here in the first workstation, and here in station 1, you'll see they've now ground the body smooth, and they're drilling a lot of holes. They're running some of the very base electrical, and this truck will then, once it's finished here, it will go into the paint booth and get painted. And after it's painted, it gets sanded and buffed. We'll see that on the other side in a minute, and it'll come back to station 2, which we'll walk around to real quick. So again, as we've added on over the years, we've redone a lot of this process. So from station 1, it'll go into the paint booth up there, but then we come into station 2, And again, you start to see the truck come together after it's painted. You see a lot more of the plumbing getting done. You see a lot of the panels being done. And we start getting a lot of the main electrical put in. So they're doing a lot of that work here. So these stations are basically, we run a tack time about every 2 days. And so we balance the workload, and we'll walk up here as we go up, and then we enter into station 3. And then you start to see trays and shells. You start to see the pump panels get complete and put on. So, James. So every truck has this that goes along with it. So what you see is we have what we call a playbook. This is basically our task list for building the truck. Then we have the specifications here. We also have a drawing. So the supervisors and team leads are using this to make sure they're building the truck to the right spec and they have the components they need to work on.
Wow. Hey, Bert, I'm seeing a lot of yellow fire trucks. What are these trucks all about?
So we were fortunate. There's a community outside of St. George, which happens to be where Chris Ferrara lives. But we just got an order for 12 trucks, 10 pumpers, 8 pumpers, 2 rescue pumpers, and also 2 77-foot aerials. And so those are going through the line right now. And what you'll notice about them is you'll see our master SAM expert here, Chase. But say hi, Chase. But you see we have the SAM system. So this is the actual passenger side of the truck. So they have screens on both sides, and these guys are actually getting the iPad option that they decided to add to it. So in station 3 here is where we're just getting a lot of the pumps and plumbing done. So when this truck leaves here, a lot of the pumps and plumbing is essentially going to be finished. Michael.
Wow.
See this thing? I just want to show them. So what you see everything here is starting to get set and in place and connected. They'll do some testing here. And after that, it'll move on to station 4 where it starts to get complete pump testing.
Wow.
Well, we love seeing those SAM trucks in there, Bert. That's
you like that, don't you?
We do. That's a great little piece there. And thank you to all those folks at St. George for trusting in us and that new technology. I think I know they're going to be getting the first ones here pretty quick, right?
Yes, the first one we'll see in a minute is essentially complete. They're actually just wanting to mount this things in the truck and do some different things to it. We get that pilot model done, and then they're just going to start rolling out of here. So I wanted to walk on this other side of sheet metal. So again, this is a lot of where this real skilled craftsmen are. Most everything else, you don't really go to fire truck building school. But a lot of these guys come in. We do have some people that we've taught ourselves, but you'll see that since Rev acquired us, they've really invested in it. So we have actually 2 new press brakes, 2 new shears, and a new plasma that we've gotten in the last 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So, good equipment. We don't have any downtime. And what they like is duplicate equipment so that if something happens, we're still running the place.
Absolutely.
So we've actually, they've invested a lot of money. So, and of course, the guys, you're seeing it's empty just so you know, we work 6 to 2:30 during the summertime. So a lot of the guys are gone, but you see we have this plasmas running all day. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, so the Rev marriage has been a good thing for Ferrara and that investment and capital, access to capital, I should say, to help you guys expand and be prepared for the future growth.
Yeah, as far as Ferrara, I tell everybody, besides a great opportunity for me, being part of this larger company is helped our health insurance benefit. They improved the retirement contribution and a lot more with the holidays. So for us, and then they've allowed us to still be who we are, our core DNA, the customization that we do, they still let us build our trucks our way, and they just really offer a lot of support. So it's been good for Ferrara.
Oh, that's great. We're glad to hear that. And
yeah, that's great, Bert.
Yeah. So we have a little sand and buff area, when pieces and parts come out, they all get wet sanded and buffed. So there's some more of those green doors. You see them buffing.
Oh, yeah.
And again, on this side, John, I know you're probably going to ask, it's actually about 5 weeks on this side if it's a standard pumper. An aerial may take about a week longer if it's a bigger aerial. And then, of course, we get into some PDAs we're building for San Francisco, and you get into some of these specialty units. They can take 10 or 12 weeks, depending on the content. These rescues for New York take a long time. It's a very intricate piece, a lot of stainless steel metal work. So this is kind of a sand and buff area.
Wow.
So I know we kind of avoided the paint booth area. I know we kind of walked around it there, but how many paint booths do you have there, Bert?
So we'll try to get you a shot here. Steve will try to walk over here and get you a shot. So we have 4 paint booths actually. We have a 40-foot paint booth, 2 50-foot paint booths, and 1 paint booth is actually 80 feet. So if we put the whole platform aerial in there, we can do everything we can with it. So we've been, just, blessed that we got so much room to do all this paint work and stuff. So did you get it? Hopefully you got a shot of it. It's hard to see, but it's in the middle of the shot.
We did. Stevie did a great job. By the way, if you guys who don't know, Stevie there is the guy running the camera for Bert today. So Stevie, thanks for helping out and keeping him in the shots.
Yeah, Stevie says thanks. So again, this station 4 here is actually where the truck starts to get completed. And so when the truck leaves from here, a lot of times it goes out to pump test and does the third-party testing, 12-volt electrical pump test, everything that goes with that. And then the truck will actually come back into what we call Station 5. And that's when they'll do a lot with the striping and, some of the accessories. They'll start putting all the chrome on it. So what we're looking at here is basically the first unit, Dave. This is the first St. George unit. So you can see the SAM system in all its glory there. So again, you guys probably may want to explain a little more, but I'll kick the power on for you real quick.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, SAM is allowing us to improve fireground operations and safety from an IDEX product perspective. And so utilizing 2 touch screens, it actually takes and automates some of the simple functions of the fire apparatus, but really it enhances the effectiveness of the pump operator. It doesn't necessarily tie them to the panel. I know, Bert, you pointed one out on the opposite side before. So the pump operator can operate the vehicle from either side of the vehicle, or I think you said the St. George have the tablet too, right?
Right. Well, they've decided now to add the tablet. So I'll tell you that, a lot of old school firefighter, right? Hundreds of years of progress hampered by tradition. So after they did the training, I got phone calls about how impressed they were and how much they liked it and how they thought it was really going to change what they do. So then they came back and added the tablet function after so that they can do it remotely. They don't have to be next to the truck even. They can operate the truck remotely.
Well, a lot of people forget that, like when I have discussions, they forget that everything that touches water, there's nothing new that touches water. All these products have been made for decades, literally 20 plus years. And once you have that to, stand on, it's like maybe it's not so new. What it does is using the same components, but it allows us to do our jobs quicker, more efficiently. So it's exactly what you said there, Bert.
Yeah. So, one of the things we're known for too is we use an actual frame rail bumper. So it's not you'll see a lot of people put 1/4-inch steel here with a channel. Yep. This is actual frame rail that we cut and fabricate into a bumper. So we adopted that from one of our customers who said they really don't want to get in a wreck, but if they get in it, they want to win, right? So it saves a lot of stuff. And with so many people putting so much into these front bumpers now, it's really important to protect. A lot of people are putting rescue tools and a lot of other things on these units. So we'll get a better shot, but you'll see a lot of yellow, like you said, guys, in the factory right now. But we are working. Let's see if we get a shot. So we have a San Francisco tiller. In a minute, we'll let you see. We got a San Francisco truck over here that we're finishing up. We just sent the first one out to California. We have an order of 5 for those. So wow. In this end down here, the truck's really getting wrapped up. Everything gets checked. QC runs through it, and then they actually get the punch list, from QC gets worked down, and then they give the truck over to the delivery team when it's done. So from there, we come into our delivery area, and of course with COVID and all these St. George trucks being built, we don't have a lot of visitors. But when people come in, get the lights on. When people come in, we have this nice air conditioned room for them, and in this air conditioned room, we have 3 offices. There's bathrooms and a kitchenette, and then every office has a coffee maker, and, a refrigerator and everything you need. So a customer basically comes in, checks their truck out. From here, they can test drive the truck. They can take it to the pump pit. And then if they're mounting some equipment and putting it in place, we do a lot of that as well.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So Bert, I mean, it's been an impressive walkthrough here of the facility. So, I mean, when we add the time up, it looks like we're talking about 10 weeks to 12 weeks. Is that right for a total build of a pumper?
Yeah, you're probably looking really at 12 to 14 weeks. So,
okay.
A standard pumper can go through faster. We've been known for quick delivery. So we keep some stock chassis in the back. So if a customer needs a quick delivery, we can modify the chassis and build the body the way they want it. We keep some of those things in the same line. But for the most part, we can run it through even quicker if we have to. In a lot of cases, small departments lose a truck. They don't have a lot of reserves or a lot of extra trucks. So we try to help out when we can.
So, I mean, just looking at the factory and getting a quick walkthrough, and of course, I've had the privilege of being there in person and seeing it before, and to watch Ferrara grow as a business. It's been fun to watch. And, what's the capabilities? I mean, how many trucks could you produce a year out of that factory?
So this truck was actually made to produce about 500 trucks a year. There's actually drainage in the ground to add 2 additional paint booths in that line there. And also, during probably the busiest time back in 08 and 09, we were running a weekend shift and a night shift, and we were building, over 300 trucks a year. So it has a lot of capability, a lot of potential.
Wow.
So we just try to keep it steady and make sure we still have good deliveries.
Fantastic.
Well, Bert, I just want to say thank you for the tour. Stevie, thanks for running the camera there, man. I appreciate it. This was a great insight to Ferrara Fire Apparatus, what you guys do, what goes into making a heavy duty apparatus, right? That ruggedness, that durability, those little things you guys do by adding reinforcements or beveling those edges to 45s for the optimal welds. I mean, those are all the little things that a lot of people miss or don't see when they see a big red truck, or in St. George's case, big yellow truck running down the street, right?
Yeah. A lot of people like to skip those steps when they want to have a low price. A lot of people like to skip those steps.
Well, Bert, thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure having you on the jump seat here and giving us the factory tour. Maybe we can do some other fun stuff when you have another truck in the future. We can showcase something. But John, I'll let you kind of take it from there. Bert, Thank you very much, sir. And
thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it.
Hey, Bert, one more question too, just for those watching. How do they get in touch with how do they find their local dealer if they don't know them already? What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch with you guys?
You can go to the website, which is ferrarafire.com.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way. There's a lot of contact options on there as well. You can see a lot of the trucks that were in production. We have that on the website 24/7. You can see demos, and then you can see a lot of products. But the best deal is to go to the website at ferrarafire.com.
Super. All right,
Perfect.
Bert. We will look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bert.
All right, Dave. Well, we will wrap it up. It's Friday once again. We're all ready for a weekend, I'm sure. And those who are working, thank you for working this weekend on duty. Next week will be July 17th. We'll be doing episode 13. Same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in, and you can find and share this through Facebook and YouTube, as well as the IDEX Fire and Safety blog. And for those who are still tuned in, feel free to leave us some comments, things you would like to see, guests. We're
Absolutely.
definitely open to bringing in different interesting pieces of the fire service, and that's exactly what we strive to do every week. So that being said, we will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.